Thanks for staying with us on Point. Aspen has invested more than 3 billion rand in a facility in Gqeberha in the Eastern Cape, which will further provide life-saving medicines for the domestic and export markets. Saad, who's the CEO of Aspen Pharmacare, joins me now. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News this afternoon. So what capacity does that sterile facility in Gqeberha have for the production of vaccines now?
We built, it was actually over 3 billion. We built capacity therefore to be able to make our global anesthetic portfolio as well. And we've got some spare capacity. So what we've got right now in the one suite that we have the Johnson & Johnson vaccine in, we have capacity of about 300 million vaccines. So if it's fully utilized, we can make about 300 million per year doses.
Okay, talk to us about how that happened and how you worked with Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah, so, at the start, we knew we had this capacity, and so what we knew there was a shortage of sterile capacity. That's why we built it in the first place. Not for COVID specifically, of course, we're not Nostradamus, but we built it for vaccines and to create a capacity to deal with pandemics and vaccines out of Africa. And then when COVID came, there were many multinational companies that had the product or thought they had a development, and many wanted to partner with us. We did choose Johnson & Johnson from the point of view, we really liked the fact that it was a single dose, that it didn't need to be stored. It worked in normal vaccines, so refrigeration. And there was a fundamental philosophical alignment in that they wanted equitable access for vaccines. So that was critical to us. There's no way we can be sitting in Africa and exporting all of our medicines and people in Africa don't get. So that was very important in our decision of whom we could partner with outside of the technical competencies that we have relative to the vaccine.
When are those vaccines set to be ready for the domestic and international market? Can you just give us the numbers around that now?
Sure. So, if we, as I told you, we could get to about 25 million a month once we fully ramped up. The process of manufacturing a vaccine is that one has to send to a regulator who approves your medicine at 3 batches in a row that all do the same thing. And those are called validation batches. So you say, we've got our validation batches that validate we have the method. And once you get that approval, you can make commercial batches. It's quite possible to sell validation batches if they're good and they're approved and within the time frame. So where we are now is those products are on our line. If they pass the tests and the regulators approve them, they should be ready for sale towards the end of next month. So next month, just a week ago. So it takes, when we make these vaccines, you need about 4 weeks after you've manufactured the vaccine, 1, to test them to make sure they're all good, and 2, to make sure they've remained sterile. So that because these are sterile products. So if you take that, you saw some of the vaccines hopefully on TV on the lines last night. It would be no more than 4 weeks before those products are released.
Okay, Stephen, I just want to get clarity on that. So you are making the validation batches now. Those will be ready by the end of April, and then what's next? No.
If all's good, South Africa will be receiving stock in April.
I see. Okay, talk to us about how, if in any way, you've worked with government on this project and on the upgrade. No, I mean Aspen is a private company, so we've done the upgrade ourselves, and it's funded by our shareholders and our own debt. The government have given certain benefits and allowances, which they do for all industry on certain projects and certain sizes, and that's predicated on being profitable and all of those good things. But where we have worked very closely with government and where it's been very useful is that in trying to get this vaccine at the speed that we're trying to get product in here and being biological products,
We needed all sorts of waivers and ability to cut through red tape to make sure we could get stock in, flush stock out. Work very closely with SAPRA, the regulatory body, to be able to provide information as to, what our batch documents look like, what we're doing, and all of those things. And then even the Department of Trade and Industry to help get products in and out, and the health department too. So they've been fantastic in helping us manage red tape and being apps and very committed to us, really following our progress daily to understand where we are.
Talk to us about the impact outside of the manufacturing of vaccines that upgrading of that facility may have, whether it be job or any other impact that upgrade in that facility in Gqeberha has had.
Yeah, I think it's a really good question, because, what you've seen now is vaccine nationalism. And at the end of the day, if you manufacture your own product, you get it first. So when India have a problem now, they simply close their borders to the rest of the world and say, we are producing a serum for India only. So I think from an African perspective, this facility is going to be critical. We're looking to we've got our existing footprint. We can put a few lines in as well. But we really would like, as a African producer and the only producer for J&J in the Southern Hemisphere, to be able to get to a situation where we have one African person on the continent and we're able to provide one dose of the vaccine. So, if there are 1 billion people, we want to be able to produce 1 billion vaccine doses. So when we have pandemics, when we have issues that are of national concern, international concern, we can just say, listen, don't worry, we can sort ourselves out here in Africa. We've got this capacity and capability. I think one has really got to invest in technologies. And you say, these things come across, it might never happen again. It was just over 10 years ago when we were dealing in ARVs. And once again, we were the first company to produce an FDA-approved generic ARV. And because of that, it became the cornerstone of an ARV rollout. And once again, millions of people impacted, millions of lives saved. And I think we really have got to be thinking a little broadly around how we manage science and technology in this country to make sure that that this is something that is not just sort of private sector led as well. This is something that as a country we need to decide where our strategic assets are, where our strategies are, and how we make sure we prepare ourselves. We will see America and Europe and all those countries have put billions into their pharma industry to make this, and to make it happen for them. So I think what we'd like to do as Aspen is also go into the drug substance, not only manufacture the product, but manufacture the ingredient in the product as well. And that probably will be our next step.
Saad, CEO of Aspen Pharmacare, thanks so much for your time on SABC News this afternoon.